Our nation is seeing the number of homeless children rise immensely every year. There is about 1.1 million homeless children in this country right now, and that doesn't include all the ones that haven't been identified or the children are not school age. That would bring it up over 1.6 million. Many of these families, you might say, are doubled up. They're living on someone's couch or on the floor, or maybe the whole family is sharing a bedroom. We have other families who are living in motel rooms, families that are living in shelters, and sadly, we've had many families that are living on the streets or in their cars.
So if you really think about what are the things that most people aspire to, and I think it's as fundamental as the American dream. I think people want to live safely. I think they want their children to be in a great environment and get well educated. I think it's every parent's dream that their children live a better life than they lived. Like most people, my perception of homelessness was people living under a bridge with a cardboard sign. But the reality is that homelessness is not a single definition. It's a range of definitions that range from chronic homelessness to incidental homelessness. 80% of homelessness are families. I met Lori the same way I met Beth DAVALOS, the same way I met Beth and Knight down in Osceola County. There's all these great people out there doing things. They're not talking. You know, the thing that you'll find about Lori is she's very passionate about doing the right thing for the right reasons.
Well, Lori and I met several years ago. I was meeting with somebody else from the apartment industry. We were talking about the issue of homelessness and the need for housing. And she said, oh, you need to meet my friend Lori. So we reconnected on that level.
My name is Lori Trainer. I'm Vice President of Public Relations for Southern Affordable Services. We're a nonprofit whose purpose is to assist low-income families with housing. In Central Florida alone, in Orange, Seminole, and Osceola County, there are 11,000 homeless children that go to school every day. So I put a program together called the New Moves Partnership. And what we do is we focus on a certain segment of the homeless population. Most people, when they envision the homeless population, they picture the guy with the sign standing under the bridge saying, we'll work for food. That really isn't the majority of the homeless population. And so what we did is we narrowed down a specific profile of family that we're looking to help, specifically families that are newly homeless due to no fault of their own. These aren't people that are just looking for a handout. They're looking for a hand up. They're looking for someone to forgive maybe the missteps that they had that led to their homeless situation and get back on their feet.
We're looking at about a 10 to 20% growth. We're getting new children every day, 10, 15 children being identified that are going through this.
A lot of depression and anger, not necessarily anger directed towards anyone, just anger in general. You're like, why me? Why my family of all people?
25% of all Americans are one paycheck away from not being able to pay for their housing.
I went to college. I got my degree. I didn't see this coming.
I am the Director of Client Services for the Christian Sharing Center, and we provide individuals and families with basic needs. Well, I've really rethought homelessness because the clients that we see these days are professionals that are struggling to make ends meet. They may have a job and just be underemployed.
Well, from my experience, and I've been in many of the hotel rooms that these families are living in, it's something that the mothers and fathers are embarrassed.
It's a horrible feeling. It's horrible not knowing where your kids are going to get their next meal from. Are they going to have a roof over their head the next day?
This industry surrounded this family with so much love and so much support. We were able to get an apartment for them, their rent paid for them, court gave them furniture. Westgate Resorts allowed them to shop for free at their thrift store, so all the kids were able to get food and clothing and shoes. And I mean, it's really just working those connections, getting the story out about these families.
I gave them my situation and they immediately proceeded to give me a hand. They also gave me a welcoming kit.
I'm happy to say we've had an 85% success rate with the families that have moved in. That means 85% of those 200 families fulfilled their lease term and were able to become regular rent-paying residents within the communities. So if you picture the homeless population as a pie, we are helping one segment of the pie through this program, and it's the New Moves Partnership. So while working with all of these different charities and management companies and building these relationships, I come across people that have the fire in their belly that I do for trying to change lives. And I've made some incredible friendships that I, foster both in the job and outside of the job. Just surround yourself with people that you know are good, that really, really want to help people and share that passion. So you have the people that really were that middle class level and, educated, hardworking, everything was good until something bad happened to them. They didn't do something bad happened to them. And then you have the other families that are struggling to make it, every week. The families that maybe they're late with their rent every other month, which is enough of a struggle for them. But then if they lose their job, if they get laid off, it's not late anymore, it's not there, and all of a sudden they're homeless.
What can we do today is that we have to talk to each other. We have to really help families navigate through the system easily. The only way to do that is for us to figure out how that looks, to communicate within the different agencies and faith-based communities how we want families to navigate and get services met, and then provide that information to families.
We're trying to make a difference. It's that old adage of, you made a difference to the one starfish that you threw back, but you're not saving the world. And I can't save the world. I can only work my little part of the country, but if everybody could just dedicate a little bit of time, we're really going to have an impact nationally. Nothing fills your heart more than when you deal with one of those families and you see the gratitude that they have, and not only for what we're doing, but just for society.
It's very impressive to see on a small scale what a community can do when they come together.
When you see a family go from living in a car or in a shelter to being in a home and having that child come up and hug you and say, "Thank you, Miss Lori, for giving us a home," that's going to melt anybody's heart.